Welcome back, everybody, to Quid Prog Quo, the music podcast where I introduce my friends and loved ones to progressive rock music, and they in turn get me to listen to, well, whatever they want. And we've got a very special throwback episode. This was released a number of weeks ago on the podcast streams, and I decided to upload the video footage here on YouTube. So I'm pretty excited about that. This was with my good friend Elise, and Elise had me listen to The Dead South, and I had her listen to Rick Wakeman. So I'm really excited for you guys to check that out and dive into this week's episode. Yeah, I think that's what we've got. So I want to extend a huge thank you to Olena Olinsky, the designer of the show's graphic, as well as Explosive Ear Candy, who did the main soundtrack for this whole podcast, which is all together now. Which hopefully, now that most people are getting their vaccines, we can actually do so, because that was part of the reason why I started this whole thing off, was to reconnect with friends and loved ones that I hadn't seen due to the pandemic. So hopefully we'll be back together very, very soon. So take care of yourselves, have fun, and let's dive into this week's episode.
I should ask you whether you prefer. What are your feelings on banjos?
Banjos? I love banjos.
You like banjos?
Yeah, what's wrong with banjos?
No, nothing's wrong with banjos. It's just some people don't like banjos. So I
Who
was
doesn't
gonna.
like banjos? Give me names.
I mean,
Give me names right now.
I can't produce a list of these people on request. I just know that some people don't like banjos.
I don't know. I think that's like the continent of Australia. They're
Okay.
fake.
We're gonna we're gonna go there and inquire.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen pictures, but there's Photoshop. We all know it's fake. Kangaroos. I mean, have you ever seen a kangaroo, really?
I mean, I know of them. I've
Yeah.
seen them in the zoo.
But how do you know those aren't animatronics?
Oh my god, is this going to be an intense conspiracy? QAnon Kangaroo Edition?
QAnon, yeah. Kangaroo edition. Australia is not real. Prove to me it's real. You can't. Oh, boy.
I think it's like Australia's really. Do you remember the Dinotopia books?
I do remember the Dinotopia books, yeah.
Okay. New conspiracy theory. Hard pitch. Australia is Dinotopia. It has been this whole time. All of that stuff about barren desert and wombats and kangaroos, it's all an elaborate smokescreen. They have a dinosaur-based perfect society down there, and we just have to all go.
I can see that. That's why everybody wants to go. And then when they come back, they say that their life has changed. And then when you ask them about it, it's like, oh no, you just have to be there. They're like sworn to secrecy.
And they can't give you any details.
Yeah. Oh boy. So welcome back, Lise. Starting us off on a bang.
Woo!
I'm super glad to have you back. The first time around, you got me to listen to Harry Styles, which now I've caught myself humming and singing along to Watermelon Sugar.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is also due to the one TikTok, which has the watermelon sugar. Hi! Watermelon sugar. Hi! Watermelon sugar. Hi!
TikTok gets you like that.
Oh, it does.
There's like, okay, I'm not going to remember the name of the song and artist off the top of my head, but I know the meme. It's like, it's so catchy. And I remember seeing the TikToks and then hearing the actual song on the radio and being like, oh, that's the TikTok song.
Yeah. Well, apparently a lot of record studios and artists are doing that now. Like they're designing songs specifically for TikTok for people to use. And then, so you get like this, maybe like 24 seconds of like gold that's surrounded around this mediocre song. So yeah, apparently it's like, yes, people are actually doing it. It's like the TikTok effect. I love TikTok. It's I mean, my heart will still go on for Vine. Like my heart, like the heart of the ocean, will always go on for Vine.
Pour one out for Vine.
I always pour one out for
Put
Vine.
your lighter and wave it in solidarity for Vine. But yeah.
2016, 2017 was a dark time. But we're not here to talk about Vine. We're here to talk about music. So
we could talk about both.
I mean, we could talk about both. So Yeah, you got me to listen to Watermelon Sugar from Harry Styles, and I got you to listen to some Devin Townsend.
And I have to say, I've listened to that probably 10, 12, 13 times since.
It's a powerful record.
I really like it.
Have you gone back and listened to anything else from Devin?
I have. Not the same way where I was listening to the whole album, but I went on a YouTube dive and I just listened to random stuff.
Okay.
that I
Yeah, he's
found.
got
And I
some
couldn't.
really good stuff there.
Yeah, and like I couldn't name again. I'm not going to be able to produce the names of it.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, my favorite albums from him unfortunately aren't on streaming services, which still kind of irk me, but you can find them. They're out there. So yeah. Do you want to let me know of the album of choice for that you've got me ready, or do you want me to let you know of the album of choice? That was a word salad of a sentence, but you know what I hope you know what I meant.
I think so. I think if you're good with banjos, I think that settles my decision-making process. I
Wonderful.
just need to make sure that I'm finding the correct album.
So I'm guessing I'm getting an album that's full of banjos.
I mean, probably.
Because I won't lie, I had prepared myself for the other album that you had prepared last time.
Oh, the Beaches! You listen to them?
No. I mean, like, I prepared myself by not listening to them and kind of expecting the Beaches, but I didn't. Like, I'm excited about these banjos now that you're telling me about banjos. I'm craving some banjos.
Okay. Because we can always do the Beaches. They're good too.
I mean, we could, but I know I'm going to have you back on this podcast, so we could do the Beaches at another time.
Okay. Well, it's only because, like, I was thinking, like, Harry Styles is very poppy, and I wanted to give you something really different. The Beaches are sort of like, they got like an indie rock sound. So this is, this is, probably the album that, oh man, which one do I like? The one that I was able to buy and that I listened to in the car is Sugar and Joy.
Sugar and Joy.
So we're gonna do Dead South, Sugar and Joy.
And Joy, Dead South. So what kind of music would you qualify this as?
Oh, this is definitely like folksy bluegrass.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so a little bit of like the southern twang.
Oh, a lot of southern twang. All of the southern twang, none of the southern frivolousness. This is not okay. That sounds bad. Let me take off my fancy fedora there.
Let's tip your hat, my lady.
Okay, it's not like the South, like truck nuts and beers and chicks. It is the dark, depressing.
Okay. Less it's been lonely on my horse since my saddle died, and you know.
More like I'm staring at this bottle of whiskey, and it is empty, and possibly so am I.
Oh, okay.
But there's fun stuff in there too.
I was going to say, with a title of an album such as Sugar and Joy, I would hope that there'd be some kind of an uplifting track to it, unless it's very ironic.
I kind of think like I don't know if I could even. There's some songs that have a faster beat. There's some songs that are. There's one song that is like I could picture it being a really fun like drunk bar sing along. Which is like, I think one of the lyrics is like, "Carry me home in a wheelbarrow" or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, so going on to my choice. I had narrowed it down to two, because I also wanted to give you something completely different from Devin Townsend, and I decided to go classic. I decided to go to some classic progressive rock, and this is a staple. This is a masterpiece, if I'm being perfectly honest, in terms of like progressive rock. Now this is a solo work from the keyboardist of Rick Wakeman.
Okay.
So a little bit of history, a little bit of context. Rick Wakeman is kind of a legendary keyboardist. He got his start with the band called the Strawbs, kind of like a short term for strawberries. They were very minstrel, very like Britain, very kind of like, yeah, I guess minstrel would probably be the best qualifier for that. He then got offered the job as the lead keyboardist from Yes.
Oh, hey, I've heard of them.
Yeah. So he
Yes,
was.
I know them.
Yes, you know them. He's kind of been in and out of the band pretty consistently since the early 70s, like 1972, 73. And he's kind of come on every other record with them. He's gone on to tour with them quite substantially. And that's kind of like where he got really, really big. And then he did a lot of his solo stuff. And he's put out like 50, 60 solo records. The guy, like, he's nonstop. Like, even though he's in his, like, I don't know, 70s or 80s, he put out one of my favorite albums last year. So the guy's nonstop in terms of his prowess. He's also one of my idols in terms of what's the right word? The word always escapes me. Pretentious. That's the word I'm looking for. His mastery on the keyboards is only matched by his pretentiousness. And I mean that I mean that in the best possible way. Whenever he tours, he usually wears a cape, because my dude's got to wear a cape. And some of the concepts of his albums are just like bonkers, bananas, insane, especially how he tours them. So the album that I'm giving you is his second studio album, third output, which is called King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Or sorry, The Myths and Legends of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table.
Oh my God, I am down for this.
That's the title of this track, or of this album. And one of my favorite musical tidbits is the tour that he put on for this nearly bankrupted the studio along with himself. And because he wanted to have this played in stadiums, like arenas that had skating rinks, because half of the show was going to be with figure skaters acting out what was going on. Yeah.
Okay. So if somebody told me, somebody had said, Lise, do you want to go to a concert where there's figure skating and progressive rock music featuring the subject matter of King Arthur? I'd be like, yes. Why has no one ever told me this? I would have been there yesterday. I will just sleep in this place until I can get it. That was amazing.
Yeah. I think they only put out like maybe 5 shows before they had to stop because the ice was getting like in the way of all the electricities, like the electrical items, because half the stage was ice, the other half was literally a stage where the musicians would play. Yeah, it was kind of bonkers, banana, insane, and this is the kind of thing that I just love. This is also my favorite album from him. So, and yeah, it's talking about the myths and legends of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. So I figured that's a good through line because I figured you would really enjoy that.
Oh yeah.
So
ready.
So yeah, enjoy, because yeah, it's a real delight, and I really hope you enjoy it. And I will listen to the Dead South and enjoy Sugar and Joy.
Okay, I'm just gonna make sure. Myths and Legends. Rick Waits is
Rick Wakeman.
I will take a look. Arthur. I can do this, not right this second. And I should probably look not there.
You okay there?
Yeah. Oh, right. I'm hearing this wrong. I'm spelling this wrong. There's my problem. Oh man.
Huh. It looks like the Dead South put out an album this year. Oh, it's a live album.
I haven't listened to it yet. I don't know. I hope it's.
Oh, there's Sugar and Joy. This was the one that was put out a couple years ago.
Yep. Their first album is Good Company, which is also good too, but Sugar and Joy is the one that I've listened to more. So that's what I'm going with. Okay, I found it. It looks like the whole thing's on YouTube, which is handy.
Yeah, it's also all on Spotify.
Oh, okay.
All right. So enjoy. And I will see you back here in just over about 40 minutes or so.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Bye. And with that, Lisa and I go into our own little musical silos to listen to one another's music. So pretty excited for you to hear our takes on me listening to the Dead South for the first time and Lisa listening to Rick Wakeman. Pretty excited for you guys to hear that. And I'm just going to shout out some of my patrons, because if you like what you see and you want to help support me, consider donating to my Patreon. You can find that at patreon.com/notesreviews. And even just $1 a month really, really helps. And you get a shout out. Like I'm going to be shouting out Bryson this time. Bryson is a long-term individual, and he actually was the one that got me into Cardiacs. He was the one that had me live stream The Little Man and the House and the Whole World Window, as well as review On Land, on Sea. Both of those can be found on my Notes Reviews musical channel here on YouTube. So go and check those out. And I want to give a huge thank you to Bryson for introducing me to one of my now favorite bands. And along with Bryson, I also want to thank Fabian J. Lilo. Fabian has been a supporter of mine for a little bit as well. So I wanted to thank both Bryson and Fabian for their great contributions throughout the years. And, you know, it really, really does help out. So if you want to find out more of what I do, you've got my regular Notes Reviews music channel. That's where I review progressive rock and music. I also have my tabletop role-playing game channel as well. That's Notes on TTRPG. I just uploaded a pretty in-depth review of the new, well, not new, but the more updated Paranoia game, which is really a lot of fun. And I hope to be doing some shorter videos all on the Star Wars Fantasy Flight game. So if that sounds interesting to you, head on over to that and give me a subscribe and a like and all that good fun stuff. And yeah, if you haven't already, check out the podcast that this is all about. This is from the vault, so it's already been uploaded there. But yeah, I figured if you wanted to see it visually, this is where you can do it. So enough about me yammering on. Let's dive back into the podcast proper to find out what I thought about the Dead South and what Lee's thought about Rick Wakeman. Let's dive back in.
Hey.
Hello. All right.
That does seem to be how it works. Like you finish first, and then I'm like, oh, I want to like listen to this part one more time, just
to get a good grounding for it. And then
yeah.
Well, I guess on that note, how did you enjoy it? How was the sweet sounds of Rick Wakeman?
I really liked it.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was very pretentious, a little.
No. But like in the best possible way.
Yeah, it was. Hang on, we have a visitor here.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
All right. Is it Herbert?
It is Herbert.
Oh, hello, Mr. Herbert.
He's gonna be a little snarfly. Hang on, let me just get him out of here.
Oh, buddy.
Come on, bud. Okay. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay.
Maybe you can just edit that bit out.
Oh, I'm keeping it in.
No.
100%.
Hopefully he didn't snarfle too loudly.
Oh, he was fine.
Okay.
Oh boy. Okay, so you really liked it. It was definitely pretentious, but in the best possible way.
I really liked it because he tries to tell the story, like the rise and fall of a dynasty, essentially. Through it's almost like, oh man, this is such a lame comparison, but
Do it.
okay, so like, have you ever listened to, you watch an anime and then you download the image songs for the characters?
Of
and
course.
Yes.
We've all
So
been there.
yeah, it felt very much like that to me, where like each character kind of gets their own highlighted moment.
Yeah.
And the book ending of the rise and the fall. Yeah, I really liked it.
That's good.
Yeah, I liked the synth was awesome.
Gotta love the synth.
Very like I know it's 1975, right? It said that it was produced in.
Something around there, yeah.
It felt almost like a little bit 80s to me.
Okay.
Well, I think that's just because of the synth, because I associate that with the 80s.
Right, yes. I mean, the 80s were extremely synth-led.
Yes.
So, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, okay, so do you want me to just go through my thoughts?
I really, really do, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I really liked how every song kind of most songs started out with those Gregorian monks.
Gotta love the Gregorian chants.
Yeah, they're just gently singing a little piece of narrative for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty weird on the second track though, when it's the Lady of the Lake and that's her spoken dialogue to Arthur, but it's sung by male
a bunch of guys. Yeah.
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 So I thought that was pretty entertaining. I liked like the mix of instruments too. There was some interesting things in there, like the harpsichord. That was a harpsichord. What the heck?
Sure was, yeah.
Yeah. And just like the trumpets and the violins, and gave it that like kind of like, oh man, like a parts of it felt like a musical, but then parts of it were so weird.
Yeah,
like,
I always figured the trumpets and the violins gave it a regal feeling to it, like a very, we're dealing with high royalty.
Yes, and then you get to Merlin's song, and what is even going on in that song?
Okay, so I love Merlin's song. It was one of my favorite songs when I was in high school, and I would play it for anybody. Like, I was the designated driver all throughout high school because A, I was one of the few that had a driver's license, B, I had access to a car, and C, I didn't drink. So like I was everybody's best friend, but the only thing was you had to listen to whatever I played. And 9 times out of 10, I'm putting on Merlin the Magician, which starts off with the Gregorian chants and then goes into that sweet, sweet, like synth sounds.
Yeah.
And then it just goes off the walls bananas.
Yeah. What was even going on? Because I was like, okay, this is Merlin's image song.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's got the choral opening with the harpsichord and like the mystical feeling, but like a stoned mysticism at the beginning because it's all those sliding upward notes.
Yeah.
For
me, keep going.
Okay. Oh, no. Did you have something?
I do, but we'll circle back to it. Keep going.
Okay. We've got the little, like it adds the little elements almost one at a time. So it's almost like the little moments, the little musical moments each get their own before another layer is placed on top of that.
Yeah.
Like some sort of delicious cake.
But
then it just goes bananas and it turns into old-timey carnival music with like piano and xylophone. What is even happening?
Sure does. Yeah.
But then I was like, okay, no, this is Merlin because he's like part stoner. He's like part mystic. He's very wise, but he's also doing like the razzle dazzle to impress people. And that's what this is. This is like silly, frivolous Merlin being like, whoa, look at me. Don't worry. I'm not a big deal. I'm just,
it's all about the razzle dazzle. Give him the old razzle dazzle.
Yeah. And then it kind of like goes from there back into that like heavier synth with piano. It was like Merlin can dazzle you. Merlin can also end you. You watch out for that guy.
Oh yeah.
But then it just goes back into silly times at the end.
It sure does.
I really enjoyed it, but it was so weird.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of my, as I mentioned, all-time favorite songs. And one of the things that I do love about it, outside of the crazy ragtime kind of like carnival sounds near the middle and end, the thing that I really have come to appreciate and love is that bass line.
The little chug chug.
I love that bass line where it's like bow, 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 bow. Like it's punchy, it's percussive. It's like I could just see the guy like just slapping that string meaty. Like I don't know. I love that bass line.
Because he's a threat, man. The
He
threat
is a threat.
he's the bass line is like the underlying, like, the rest of this sounds silly, but you don't mess with Merlin.
You don't mess with Merlin. He's the kind of guy that brings a shank to a magic convention. He will mess you up.
He's the prison shiv of magicians.
He is. He was the OG. So yeah.
Did you ever hear a piece of classic? I don't know if it's not really classical music, but it's like we played it in concert band, and it was called Instant Concert.
Okay.
It was just like a mashup of a whole bunch of different familiar melodies. It's like a medley, and that's Merlin reminded me a lot of that.
Okay. Kind of like a melody of identifiable themes.
Yeah, because you can pick the themes out. They're very distinct, and they're not really weaving into each other so much as like a hard shift into something different. It's like Monty Python kept coming to my mind a lot as I was listening to this.
They're both extremely British, so that would make sense. Yeah.
And now for something completely different.
Yeah, essentially. So yeah, I love Merlin the Magician. Any other tracks that really stood out for you? You already talked a little bit about The Lady of the Lake and Merlin the Magician, because there's a few knights that they cover, as well as Arthur himself and Guinevere, and then the final battle.
I loved Lancelot and the Black Knight. It's a real banger. 10 out of 10. Would listen again.
Excellent. Yeah.
I mean, it tells a story. It's got that the dramatic the phrasing even in it when he's like he just sings the, oh my god, I'm not saying this very well, but like when he's like da na na na, and then it follows up with that can you edit it to put some of the music in here so that
Absolutely
people will know
not.
what I'm talking about? You should put it in so that I don't try and sing it.
Elise, have you not listened to my podcast? Do you not know how I do?
Yeah, you did that last time. That's why.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. Okay. So you'll handle that part.
But I also have no idea what part you're actually talking about. So I'm going to need a little bit of help here.
Just like the way that they sing the lyric, and then it's followed by that musical beat in the middle, and then it doesn't.
You're giving me extremely vague. I need a little bit more here.
It's like a metrical. Okay, hang on.
Oh, don't play it for me. I gotta hear it.
No, I won't play it.
Okay.
I'm just gonna find the lyrics that I'm talking about, because I know right now I'm kind of like I'm making a lot of sounds with my mouth, but
you sure are. Yeah, like it was really interesting hearing you say it was like that one part, and then it went into this other part, and then it sounded really good, and I'm like, that's great, but I need a little bit more than that.
So it's like he says a line, and then there's a musical breath between the line.
Okay.
And then he.
What's the line?
The whole song is sort of like that.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about like a specific instance that this happened.
No, I didn't have a lot of notes for this one. I just wrote really liked it, real banger.
Okay. I will use my artistic liberties of interpretation to figure out what part of the song you're talking about and put it right here.
Okay, good. No, I'll listen to it later, and I'll send you a timestamp or something.
Oh, I feel pretty confident about the choice of music that I put there.
Okay, good. And then we're kind of going out of order here, but I really loved Guinevere. It really felt like a 70s power ballad, like very delicate love song. I liked that the end of the song, it's these beautiful high chorals, and then it just sort of
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and it's almost like symbolizing, see, this is me reading into it,
Mhm.
symbolizing maybe her fall
Mhm.
fall into Lancelot's arms, the downward slide.
Oh,
Ooh,
snap. Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know, maybe.
Who knows?
It's just fun to listen to and make all the little
Yeah.
connections to the legend.
For sure, yeah.
And I mean, Galahad, I wasn't crazy about it. It was all right.
Okay.
It was weird because it starts out very like processional almost, like
Mhm.
very, but only for a little bit, like maybe 13, 20 seconds, maybe not even that. And then it's just like straight into a romp. Like he's having a great time growing up in an abbey, it sounds like.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then it's, I don't know, I guess if I had to say anything about that, it'd be like, maybe he's trying to symbolize his youth, Galahad's
Okay. Yeah.
energy and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Before it goes into the more mysterious. I wrote very poetical when he starts talking about the stone and pulling the sword from the stone. I like the chanting though. Pull me, pull me.
Yeah.
Felt like very Alice in Wonderland-esque too. Like
Okay. Okay. I
yeah.
could see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. I personally love the first track of Arthur.
Yeah.
I love the build. I love the climb. I love the big processional of like that.
Yeah.
And then it's, reprised in the final track of the album.
Yeah.
And I love how it kind of bookends with the beginning of Arthur's life and then the finality of his life. And I also love just the noodling away on all of the keyboards. Like Rick Wakeman really proved himself onto this album that he's the master of melody as well as keeping everything really tight in line, even though he's slinging, thousands of notes all at once.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really, really did dig this album. So, and I'm very, very glad that you did as well.
It's a fun album.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think I've actually listened to Judas Iscariot before without realizing it.
Oh, I mean, it's very recognizable. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I was even when I was plugging his name into YouTube, because that's what I use usually to do these things. I was like, oh wait, Middle Earth. I'm sure I've heard some of his stuff before without really recognizing the name.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, the dude is prolific. So he's done everything from like Journey to the Center of the Earth to Phantom of the Opera to 1984 to like he did a full concert about his dog once. So like the dude is nonstop.
He did a full concert about his dog?
Yeah, it's on Spotify. It's the concert for Ollie or something like that, or Olive or something.
It's about his dog?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like I said, dude's nonstop.
How cool is that?
It's pretty darn cool. Yeah.
Oh man, I want to do a concert for Herbert.
You should. Yeah, 100% you should. Oh boy. Well, I'm super glad that you liked it. And we can move on, kind of switching gears.
Okay.
Over to the Dead South. I had written, I thought this was the Deep South, but it's the Dead South.
You can be forgiven. They're pretty similar.
So yeah, I love this album. I thought it was a blast. I know you're doing your little shimmy shammy. No, I really did thoroughly enjoy this album. It reminded me of, because I've been watching this particular role-playing game called Undeadwood, which all takes place in like the South, and it's essentially Deadwood but with zombies. And I've been craving that Western sound, and I like the fact that these guys really brought it. So it reminded me of that, but it also reminded me of another favorite band of mine called Murder by Death. And if you haven't heard of them, they're kind of like a cross between these guys and the Decemberists.
I will check them out then.
Their last album that came out, I think in 2018, was called The Other Shore or The Far Shore. And in my opinion, it's a full-on masterpiece. And every time I listen to it, I weep. So that style reminded me of this, except this is much more of that Western, homegrown, deep South Western kind of a flair, like cowboys and whatnot. And
Yeah.
yeah, I could see what you were talking about in terms of it being darker and harder.
Yeah.
Because there's not a whole lot of, like, I was getting the traditional banjo guitar duels of like flats and scrubs of like Turkey in the Hay and dueling banjos and like that
Yeah.
style um of banjo work, but it also had that almost death march darkness that a lot of these I find kind of like deep south kind of bands have. Like I find like there's a very strong connection with death in those ones.
Yeah. It's very very dirge, very very
That's what I
funeral-esque
was thinking of.
sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and the
And
pick work is all really really technical and quick, right?
mm-hmm,
But
mm-hmm.
none of the folksy lightness that you hear sometimes in a lot of more, I guess, more popular banjo
Yeah,
artists.
yeah, because I mean, when I think of like contemporary popular banjo music, the first thing that comes to mind is Mumford and Sons, and like
Yep.
this is as far away from Mumford and Sons I think you can get in terms of
Yeah, it's
contemporary music.
yeah, it's not at all
So
like
yeah,
Mumford and Sons.
yeah. So I
I
also am.
like Mumford and Sons, but
Oh, don't get me wrong. I love Mumford and Sons. Like I'm still, I'll pour one out for my homies when they left the banjo to the side with their last two albums, but I still get a kick out of their first two. But this, I love the darkness of this, even when it's surrounded with the brilliant brights. Like for example, I love like Blue Trash and Heaven in a Wheelbarrow and Spaghetti that are all
yeah,
very fast, fun. I guess that's where you get the sugar and joy quality of the band. But then you get some like really gnarly tracks like the Snake Man parts 1 and 2, um,
yes,
that I was just like, I love the storytelling aspect of that. Like I
yeah,
love how dark and menacing this figure is of the Snake Man. And yeah, I mean, by and far, I think my favorite track off of this was The Broken Cowboy.
it's a really really good track.
Like by and far, like I love the story. I
Yeah,
love how the song develops. It's easily their longest song on this album by like it's 6.5 minutes.
yeah,
And I love the story. I love, like, even though it's only about six and change, I was getting emotional based on what he was talking about,
yeah,
talking about being this broken cowboy, how he's got this past life and how he built it all up just to have it torn all down based on some of his decisions that he made and the figure and the role model that he was, and kind of like being haunted by your own lineage and by your own, um, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Um,
decisions, demons.
um, it's close to lineage, like when you pass on something, the
Oh,
legacy.
legacy.
Yeah, yeah, how your own legacy can essentially come back to haunt you. I
Yeah,
just, I love, again, I'm a huge storyteller and I love a good story, and so this as well as the Snake Man were just like mwah, friend, chef's kisses everywhere. um but I will also admit, like, even though I love a lot of those more fun tracks like Heaven in a Wheelbarrow and Fat Little Killer Boy,
yeah,
I wasn't a big fan, especially of Fat Little Killer Boy. Like I don't know, like I'm never a big fan when people punch down, and like I felt like these guys were fat shaming this guy a little bit. Like I know it's all tongue in cheek and I know it's all like for a good fun laugh, but I mean at the end of the day, you are essentially laughing at this fat person that's going around killing people. And it's like this should be menacing. Like this should be scary, but instead because he's fat, you're almost laughing at him. And I don't know. There was a part of me that's like, man, it's not necessarily in the greatest taste, but
oh, I didn't really take it that way or maybe think about it that way.
Yeah, and I'm only thinking about that because like I grew up as a fat kid. Like I remember being viciously mocked when I was a preteen and even into my adult life. So whenever that kind of crops up, whenever, you know, the big butt of the joke is that somebody's fat, um I don't know, it just leaves a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth. Now, I know that
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah, I could see
I
that.
I know that wasn't the intent, and as I mentioned before, I know it's all in good fun, but I don't know, I just think that they could have found some better way to do it. Like in Alabama People, where, you know, they're just talking about essentially just a whole bunch of different people, and how horrible they can be, as well as being how great they can be. Um,
I really love Alabama People. I think it's maybe my favorite.
Interesting. Okay, because it was, for me, it was a little bit of a low point on the album personally.
I like
Um,
Alabama People. I'm not a huge fan of Fat Little Killer Boy.
mm-hmm,
Like it feels, it's like some of it feels more groomed to be singles than others, if you know what I mean.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And to me, Fat Little Killer Boy sort of has that feel. But I mean, I'm also guilty of liking, I think, Diamonds, which is the obvious single on that one.
Oh, I love how Active Approach goes right into Diamond. Is it Diamond Ring?
I think it's Diamond Ring.
Yeah,
It's the track name.
and it was the
Might be
perfect way to
Diamonds.
open up the album for me,
Yeah.
because like I started listening to it and I'm just like, okay, I know exactly what I'm going to get, and
Yeah.
I wasn't disappointed. So
Yeah.
it's like the promise of that first couple of tracks was fulfilled by the end of Distance Oneself. It was such a good opener, and I love that blend between the fast picking banjo and the overarching menacingness of the overall atmosphere.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And I
that was great.
also like, oh man, what's the track for?
Track 4, Black Lung.
Yeah, Black Lung.
That's a good track. That is a good track. I do
Love
enjoy
Black
that
Lung.
one. Yeah. Yeah, that
I
was
love
good.
how they have the percussion sounds like chains.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's very like oh man, you know what it reminds me of actually? Not that one.
Got that
But like old I know, you're not in my head. It's okay.
one.
Flipping through my mental Rolodex of music
Uh-huh.
here.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But it's a song my dad used to sing, and it's an old song. Um, not the stovepipe song, 16 tons, and what do you get? Another bit older and deeper in debt. Don't you
Okay.
call me St. Peter, 'cause I can't go. I sold my soul to the company stove.
Ah.
Kind of like that,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
it's a ballad.
Okay.
The
Okay.
ballad of
Billie Jean.
no, not Billie Jean.
Billie Jean is not
Not my
my
son.
lover.
Hang on.
The Ballad of Big?
Not maybe. I really should have made notes before I did this,
The
I
Ballad
think.
of Two-Tone Billie Jean? You sure?
No, because it's a minor song.
Mm. Like Working on a Railroad or Digging in the Mines.
The Ballad of Big John.
Ah.
Big Bad John.
Big Bad John.
Yes. Yes, that's the one. This song, Jimmy Dean, 1961, I think.
Okay.
It reminds so the way this all ties in is that Black
Yep.
Lung really reminds me of that sort of it's a dark story.
Mm-hmm.
There's tragedy in it,
Mm-hmm.
but in Big Bad John, though he dies, he's sort of heroic. But
Right.
in Black Lung, it's like the tragedy is that this is their lives, and they are. It's the grind of being in the mine, right? And they
Right.
want to leave, but like I think there's a line in there about he wants to leave. They're
Yeah.
saving up.
It is interesting because before I jumped on this call, I was listening to one of my favorite Genesis albums of And Then There Were Three, and that album ties in very beautifully to this one because it's very settlers of America, of going out west, of those like cowboy stories that you would tell around the campfire kind of thing. And they have the Ballad of Big, that's essentially like a ghost story of this guy that wasn't afraid of anything and took on a task that was too big for him, but
Yeah.
he died in the attempts of doing it, and so his spirit is still trying to get it finished. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this, and I'm actually going to go back and listen to some of their back catalog, and maybe even listen to their live album,
Okay.
because I as I mentioned, I really like that.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Well, I think that's going to be about it for this episode. Thank you so much, Lise, for coming back on and regaling us in some good times.
Sorry, I was trying to find the exact lyric that I was thinking of.
Oh, that's okay. We're coming on back. It's okay. Don't even look at it.
Okay.
It's too far gone. It's too late.
It's too far gone. We've already passed the point.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We passed the exit. We're going to the next amusement park. It's fine.
Okay.
So yeah, thanks for coming on board.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad you liked this one better than Harry Styles.
I did. I mean, I liked Harry Styles in a very different way, and definitely to a very different extent. The thing that I liked about Harry Styles was ragging on it so much. Like, it wouldn't be one that I would put on ever again. I think I am good in meeting my Harry Styles quota for the rest of my life. Unless he decides to completely revamp his musical stylings.
I'll let you know if he does. I'll keep you posted.
Oh, please do. I'm not knocking it. Like, I'm not saying that it's a bad time. I'm just saying that the time isn't for me. That's all.
No, and that's fine. It's just like I'd rather give you I hope to give you something that you're going to enjoy or find something to enjoy rather than be like, here's like an hour or an hour and change of music that you're gonna have to just slog
sit down
through
and get through. Yeah. Luckily, I've only had a couple of albums on this podcast where I've had that. And luckily this one wasn't one of them, because I thoroughly enjoyed The Dead South. So.
See, I'm really curious to see what you'd make of the Beaches now, because they're what I was gonna give you, and then I was I've been listening to them again a lot lately, and I thought, well, I think he would like this better. Than what I was gonna give you before. So
there you go. Beautiful. Well, is there anything you want to leave off on? Anything you want the listeners to know? This is your moment to plug anything you want to.
Oh, the Dead South are Canadian.
Oh, are they? Good for them.
So everyone should listen to more Canadian music.
I agree. Yeah, more good Canadian music, because apparently Justin Bieber is coming out with a new track tomorrow. And I'm not knocking Justin Bieber. He has an audience and it's well deserved, but let's shine the light on some smaller known Canadian music, because that was the other thing about these guys. Like, I was getting tastes of like Dan Mangan and Sam Roberts a little bit.
Yeah.
That kind of like Canadian homegrown stylings. So yeah.
The Beaches are also Canadian.
Oh,
I keep referencing them. So, indie girl rock guys, go listen to it.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for coming on board, Lise. This was a great time.
Glad you had fun. I did too.
Excellent. And everybody listening, thank you so much for tuning in today. And just keep sharing music, everybody.